Welcome to tutorial 19. Today we start your first song in F major. If you remember from tutorial 1, I had mentioned a particular part of the piano that would be useful in your practice. Today we look a little more into the workings of a sustain pedal and how it's used to play piano. This right here is a typical piano pedal. It's trying to imitate the form of a pedal in an actual piano like a grand or an upright, but you might find smaller piano pedals also, or they might be guitar pedals, but they will work in a piano or a keyboard as well. Let me show you what a pedal does. So if you play any note on the keyboard, you know that the note sound stops as soon as you leave the note. For example, as soon as I left the key, the sound disappeared. If I hold the pedal and play the exact same note again, even as I leave the note, it still makes the sound. And as soon as I leave the pedal, the sound stops. That's what a sustain pedal does. It sustains your sound quite literally. Here's an example of a few more notes being played together. The sounds for all three notes were being sustained as long as the pedal was being held down, and as soon as I left the pedal, all the sounds stopped at the same time. Sustain pedals are pretty useful in making a piano sound longer and have a persistence in the back so that it doesn't sound empty when you're not playing something. But it really depends on the musical piece as well. So let's get started with the song. Let's take a look at the key signature of this piece. You see a flat symbol on the B line in the treble and bass clef. This means that in this scale, the B note has to be a flat note, which tells you that it's either an F major scale or a D minor scale piece. Once again, this is what F major scale sounds like. There's only one flat note in here, and that's the B flat. You might notice that the time signature in this song is also different from what you have done before. You have done the 3/4 time signature and the 4/4 time signature. Here you have a 6/8 time signature, and that tells you that every measure in this song holds 6 quarter notes. Now, mathematically, you might have a question saying, how is it different from 3/4? It's the same fraction with twice the count and the type of note division, right? So, traditionally, and this is also something I have noticed personally, a 3/4 song is supposed to have a cadence of 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. For example, Cafe Vienna had the cadence like this. There's a waltz kind of thing happening over there. There's a swing to it, but it's not a back and forth kind of swing. On the other hand, if you count a 6/8 song, you technically it's a 1 and 2 and 3 and, but there's a swing in that which is back and forth, and it goes like 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Another example of this is the finger exercise that you did a few lessons ago, and this is how it went. So you see there's a back and forth going on in one measure itself. You have 1 and 2 and 3 and. If you see a cadence like this, 6/8 is the appropriate time signature. Chances are notes are already halved in duration and they're all eighth notes already. So 6/8, it's an indication of also what the feel of the song is. 3/4 and 6/8 basically have the same counts. So technically it might be confusing, but I guess there's an artistic element to it. If you look at the sheet for this song, you might notice that there are some lines under the bass clef, and these lines have a slant at the beginning and they abruptly stop at the end. These lines tell you to hold the piano sustain pedal and play the notes at the same time. When the slant comes in, that's when you start playing or pressing the pedal, and when the stop comes, you leave the pedal. So you might notice in the next bar it's a slant again. It's kind of an indication of how leaving the pedal is kind of instantaneous, but it might take a little time before you completely press it again. So the song that we're doing today is Can't Help Falling in Love. It's a pretty classic song. Everybody's aware of this. The reason I chose this song is because my personal arrangement for this song was fitting all of the concepts that we have learned in the tutorials before. And it's a fun song to play along to as well while you're practicing all of these concepts. So I have transposed this song from its original scale to F major so that you have a concept of F major songs as well. And this also has the reflections of all of the tutorials for finger exercises so far. Now, the finger exercise, if you've done that properly, this song is going to be very easy for you to learn. Once again, this is my personal arrangement for this song, and it is only a little snippet of the song to tell you the concepts of this song. You are welcome to try out other arrangements also by other musicians, or maybe even the original arrangement, and see how it ties down to what we are trying to do over here. Let's take a look at the first bar. You have F chord in the beginning. If you just take a look at the left hand, that is, there's an arpeggiated F major chord. You have F, A, C, and then F again. So it's an extended chord, and this is what you did in the piano finger exercise tutorial a couple of tutorials ago. So this is how bar 1 goes. That's bar 1. You have F, A, C, the next F, C, A. Now, remember the line. As you play this, you also have to press the pedal while playing this. This is what it will sound like. So you can see that there's a persistence of the sound in the back. The next bar is an A minor chord arpeggiated, but you really just move two notes to make a whole new chord in an inversion. Instead of the F notes, you play the E notes. So it's E, A, C, E, C, A. That's bar 2. And bar 3 is a D minor chord. You might notice that one abrupt note over there which is out of chord. That's because the song arrangement has lead on to the chord in the next bar. It sounds musically sense making when you play bars 3, 4, and 5 together. But let's complete bars 3 and 4 first. 3 has D minor chord arpeggiated. But instead of the F note in the end, I play the A note and directly move to the C note using my last finger. And all the while, I'm playing the pedal as well. Now in this one example, the line to play the pedal goes across bars. So bars 3 and 4 both have to be played with the pedal on. And then you leave the pedal. Bar 5 is a B flat major chord. Bar 6 is a D minor chord but with an inversion. Where you are playing B flat note, you move them to the A note. So you have A, D, F, A, F, D. And then bars 7 and 8 are C major chord inversions, but instead of coming to C root, you take every note of this finger position and move it one finger back. Every note in the D minor chord is one whole step over C major chord, except for the middle one, that's just one half step over. So you have C, E, G, then you have D, E, F, A. So an inversion or the natural position of D minor, you would have to move all fingers over one note to play the C major. In bar 9, you have the B flat chord again. Bar 10 is C. And bars 11 and 12 are D minor again. Finally, bar 13 is the F major. Bar 14 is the C major inversion. And 15 and 16 are the arpeggiated F major again. So 16, you're just holding the F note for the length of the bar. Just 15 is arpeggiated. And that's the left hand for this song. The right hand is single note melodies. There's no harmonies or anything like that. The only complication I would advise you to keep mind of is the first bar and the last bar. You have the F note overlapping in between left hand and right hand. This is what bar 1's right hand sounds like. It's one dotted half note for the whole bar. Second bar is the C note, and third bar is again the F note. You leave the note for bar 4 since there's a rest, and on the count 3 there are 2 quarter notes, which is G, A. So this is 1, 2, 4 right hand. The fifth bar is B flat. Sixth is A. Seventh is G. You leave the G note in the 8th bar and you wait for the rests to be over, which is 2.5 notes. And then the half note at the end of the bar is the C note. So this is what 5 to 8 sound like. The rests give you enough time to leave the G note and move your whole hand to the C note over here. And sustain in its own way helps you to maintain a flexible hand on the piano, because you don't need to hold a note while that note needs to be played. For example, if I had to play a dotted half note in bar 5 for B flat, I could hold the pedal and leave the note. Leave the pedal and then play bar 6. And then bar 7. I have to leave the pedal on bar 8 again. So that means you have a persistence for the G note for 2 bars at this point. Bar 9 has the D note. Bar 10 has E. 11 has F. But here it changes in 12. 12 is not the same as before. There are no rests over there. So finger positions might be tricky for 12. But here's how I like to play 9, 10 and 11. I know I have to play C in the last bar. So I would play C. But I would leave the hand completely over there, so I could move one finger up every time the next bar comes in. This is because the notes in the next bar are kind of close, and you need to have the flexible fingers available, because you have to play the B flat note right after the A note. I couldn't play this with my last 3 fingers. That would be tricky. The second, third and fourth are fine. 1, 2 and 3 are best. Like, I think they work the best. I play it with 2, 3, 4 because this leaves me with more fingers for the next part to come. Bar 12. Bar 13 is A. Bar 14 is G. And bar 15 is F and you hold it through bar 16. This is what the whole song sounds like. See you in the next lesson.